Hey everybody, this is just Curtis from PSNStores.com. Today we're going to take a look at Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. We're just going to start up a new game. I'm a decent ways into my own playthrough, so we'll start at the beginning. This is the third Shantae game, second to release on PlayStation platforms. Last year we got Shantae Risky's Revenge Director's Cut, which is the second game. I reviewed that game. I gave it 4 out of 5. Really liked it. It was my first Shantae game. It's something. This is a these games I've always kind of been curious about. I've seen them. I've known of them, but I've been curious to try them because I've played other like Way Forward games, you know. And we still have Shantae Half Genie Hero coming, which was a kickstarted game a couple years back, and so that's still coming along. I'm not really sure what the timetable is on that, what it's looking like, but that'll be the 4th game. So basically, if you haven't played these games before, Shantae is she's like a half genie. I think at the end of the second game, some things happen, where she becomes human. Like she kind of gives up her powers for the good of the people in the town that she lives in, which is Scuff Town. Yeah, so she was like the protector of this town as the half genie, or the genie itself. I don't remember. Maybe she's a half genie. I don't really remember. It's been about a year since I've played the last game. So we're just gonna kind of skip through this dialogue. But we'll try to get a decent ways into the game so you can kind of see what's going on here. There really is, it's pretty similar in structure to the last game. Although, I guess the big difference is the last game it was a smaller game. It wasn't super long. You know, you could finish it in a few hours. It wasn't, there wasn't a whole lot to it, right? But the last game, everything was connected. I don't know if we have like, here's our map right now, but basically there was you would go to a few different locations and they'd have dungeons and stuff you'd go through. But specifically it was the fact that everything was, you know, it was all connected to each other. And Scuff Town was kind of your hub in the center that would branch off to all these different pathways. In this game you're getting maps, and so you're setting sail, and going to different islands, and so there's like an island selection screen. And all of those islands have their own map, and within that map, they have a dungeon that you'll go through, and you'll get a new ability or some sort of new thing you'll acquire, and then you'll fight the boss. You know, so it's definitely it's got elements of those kinds of games where you'll get some sort of skill, some sort of item, and ability that you can use, and maybe you'll go back to a prior area, and then you'll use that ability to maybe unlock a new pathway or something. And more often than not, you're going to use your newly acquired abilities to fight the bosses you come up against. So, pretty similar in structure to the last game. There's some new abilities that you have, other than what you're used to. Shantae, she's got very long purple hair that she kind of ties up, and so you use it as a whip. That's kind of her default attack. Eventually, some of the things you get in this game, you actually get a really large pirate hat that you can use to kind of glide around. You get a gun for kind of ranged attacks, and you get a few other things. And then of course there's some collectibles, so you can get heart pieces. So you start out with two hearts, but you can expand that, of course. And that's the usual, you know, you collect 4 heart pieces to get another heart container. This game is very much, it definitely follows those kind of general rules of like, do something, you know, get 4 heart pieces and you'll get abilities that will unlock new areas from, you know, prior locations you've been to, and the bosses kind of play out as you might expect. But the story this time around is a bit, oh, screwed that up. Story this time around is basically, you know, last time, Risky she's a pirate that there is some sort of kind of rivalry going on between her and Shantae. I don't really know the origins of it. I didn't play the first game. I imagine maybe that there's some setup there. But Risky's Revenge, again, that, you know, came out last year on PlayStation 4 and Vita, I think. I think also PS3, but that's still, even though it's the second game, it's kind of a good starting point. And really, this game is, like, I don't, you know, there's a story here, and maybe you won't recognize some of the characters at first, but, you know, I don't feel like you need to play the earlier ones to get, you know, I don't think you're missing out on anything here if you haven't. But I would recommend at least going back to Risky's Revenge, because that was a fun little game. And it's not too expensive. But basically the setup here is that there's kind of an evil pirate that's set to come back. He's been, like, locked away for so many years, and it seems like maybe he's coming back. And you don't want, that's bad news. And so Risky, like, you have to team up with Risky, who has lost all of her equipment. And so you're kind of going out, setting sail, going to these different islands, trying to get her equipment back. Her equipment is actually the things that you're gonna be unlocking in this game as new abilities. And so you'll get that back and kind of fight bosses, and eventually, I'd assume, fight off against this pirate. It's my guess. I don't know. So this is just the intro here. It's very linear. Here's our save point. And our first boss. So we'll skip through this. And Ammo Baron is another reoccurring character. And then once we beat this, we'll get back to town, and we'll be able to show some of the stuff that goes on there, because Scuttle Town still kind of plays as a hub for the game. And so there you'll use money that you've collected to buy upgrades or to buy different items. Amongst many other things, but I guess the other difference is so this came out on 3DS and Wii U last year, I believe. Whereas Risky's Revenge was a game had been out for a while. So if you play Risky's Revenge, the director's cut on PlayStation 4, for instance, like I did, like I think there is like a 16:9 option, but it kind of starts at 4:3, so you got some graphical options there, but this is by default it's kind of looking like this. I think Half Genie Hero is the one that's interesting, because that's going to look much closer to the DuckTales game that WayForward did. God, it's been a few years. Like that, I can't believe how it's been a while since that DuckTales game came out. But Half Genie Hero is looking more like that, where it's kind of these HD sprites, and like 3D backgrounds and stuff. And again, if you haven't played these games before, they are, they got a specific kind of humor. There's some fourth wall breaking. There's a boss I just fought that, like, introduced himself as a filler boss. And so there's a little bit of fourth wall breaking there, but there's definitely a lot of humor, very specific kind of humor. There was a Star Wars reference earlier. But I kind of want to get through this so we can kind of get to the game where it just opens up a little bit. So I don't know that we can skip this. But basically what's happened is you know, the Ammo Baron was trying to take over Scuttle Town. We go and we take him out. And then because I'm no longer a genie, or because Shantae's no longer a genie, like, it's kind of deemed that she's not capable of, you know, being the guardian of the town. And so now I've got a court summons, and they want to cut the hair that you have as the whip. And so that's like that's no good. It's kind of taking away everything you have left, right? And so this is risky. This is your rival. And it's kind of, she assumes that you've stolen all of her equipment. And you're like, I've got no, like, I don't, what do you mean? What do you mean all of your crew members and weapons are gone? You know, I'm not the one who did that. So it's kind of the beginnings of figuring out, well, like, okay, well, if you didn't do it, then who did? And then we've got, so this is Risky's crew members, or one of them. And so they're being turned into these creatures, which we'll see in just a second. So these like really weird cackle bat, as they're called. And so these are actually kind of one of the collectibles also. There's a number of these hidden throughout the game. And if you take them out, which you're about to, you can absorb the like energy that's left over into your magic lamp. So I'm not really sure what that does if you get all of them. It's not like, so it's not like a required thing. But I have tried to do my best to seek out as many as I can find. And I don't know if we'll see the map selection screen, but it basically has a list of all the heart containers and all the bats in each island that you go to. So you can see if you've got all of them in one specific island. So it's pretty good about that. All right. Alright, so here we are in Scuttle Town. Again, this is kind of the hub area. Now, if we walk over... talk to Risky a little more. So yeah, it's a typical, like, you know, the ancient pirate master was sealed away, you know, and now he's... it appears that he might be on his way back and trying to break loose and come back with all of his power, and that's bad news, so it's up to us to stop him, right? So if we go here, this is where we can take all of the heart containers we find, like one right here, and we can fuse them into more health for Shantae. There are 20 of those in the game. If we go here, this is the shop. So we can talk to this guy. So we can buy consumables like potions, auto potions. A pirate flare just teleports you back to the ship. So like when you set sail, when you go to a new island, and once you get to like the dungeon and everything, you're gonna be pretty far away from the ship. So it's nice to carry at least one of these when you do set sail. That way you can just teleport instantly back to the ship and then leave immediately, which is pretty nice. Pike Ball and Super Pike Ball, those are returning items. Those create a defensive little like spiked ball that rotates around you, which can be pretty nice. Bubble is just a shield. I got some items to increase your damage, your attacks for a little bit of time. Shampoo and Silky Cream upgrade the whip speed of your hair, and then also upgrades the damage that you deal. Those are permanent upgrades. Then you can learn some like other little abilities. So like you can learn the backdash, which is like a nice little backwards dash, you know. It's good for like avoiding enemies. Recover, and then power kick. So we do not have the money for those yet, but that's kind of where you're going to be getting some of that stuff. Here's our save point. And then there's some other stuff up there. But those are kind of the key things. Oh, right, we need a library card. So as an example of the kind of humor you might see in a game like this, let's see that library card. Golly, they say the camera adds 5 pounds, but in your case it gave you blonde hair and a totally different face. So, you know. One thing I actually do like, and even though, and it was something that oh, okay, I guess it wants me to save my game first. And this was the case also in Risky's Revenge. Is I actually like, I really do like, they get a lot of expressions out of the characters, even just like the sprites. Like, I don't know, just Shantae's face when like when you kneel to like avoid, like sometimes like you can kneel down and like avoid damage from enemies. I don't know. Like there's effort put into that stuff, and all right, so I think we're good now. Did I just walk in and not save? There we go. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I really liked Risky's Revenge a lot. There was a couple things that I wasn't a huge fan of, but in general, I was actually really happy with it. My initial impressions of this were not great, and that's, it was going in, I really didn't know much about what this game was. I was like, okay, it's the next Shantae game. I didn't know if it was going to change a lot of things. I didn't know if it was going to be pretty similar structure-wise. But my first 20 minutes or so of it was this, and aside from that intro sequence, like Scuff Town, this area right here, it's all the same, and like same enemies, everything. And I want to say even there's like a heart container piece over here that you can't quite get to yet. Pretty sure that's the same. And so I was a little nervous going into it, thinking, oh no, is this like, am I just going to be retreading a lot of the same areas throughout most of the game? And that's not the case, luckily. And going to all these different islands, like all of that stuff is completely new. Lots of new different like enemy types and stuff. And even like the one boss that you fight that is like a repeated boss from the last game, if memory serves me correctly, it's a totally different fight. So, like now that I'm a few hours into it, I mean like a good chunk of the way, it's probably over halfway through the game, really, really into it. I like it quite a bit. It has me very excited for Half Genie Hero. Hopefully that's coming out soon. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to think of how long ago that Kickstarter was. But Way Forward can be pretty busy. They do a lot of stuff, so we can walk over. You would recognize this guy if you played some of the other Shantae games. He's the Squid Baron. He's suffering from post-boss syndrome. He's probably one of my favorite characters that I've seen in the 2 Shantae games I've played. So we'll try to skip through this really quick. think we can get this heart? Yeah. It's another thing I found is I feel like I have found over half the hearts in the game, I think, so far. And it definitely felt like I found like 7 of them very, very quick. So I don't know if it just kind of front loads it like immediately so that you can kind of get away from just having 2 hearts at the start of the game. I'm not sure. I felt like I had, because I'm at 4 hearts right now, and I felt like I got to 4 hearts very early, and then I haven't kind of moved since then. That was great. So I actually need something, an item to get that chest down there. So let's talk to this guy. So we need to get him a brochure. Yep. I don't remember. Oh, you know what? I think it might be, I bet a travel agent would know some juicy vacation spots. Because I know he's tied into the brochure thing, too. Right, flesh pops. Oh, I need one more. Okay, I think... I'm pretty sure he gives us the brochure. If I remember correctly. So we'll try it. We'll do that really quick and then wrap it up. So we should get another one from one of these enemies. The game hasn't really been that hard. There we go. I think I remember having a little bit of issue with the final boss of the previous game. But these games haven't been too bad. There's a couple times that it might be a little confusing what you need to do. But overall, they're not too bad. They're pretty, and I don't know, I really have enjoyed both of them. Oh, okay, gate key. This is gonna lead us to the brochure, I know that, but I think we'll call it there. If you want to look at the inventory, so you can get like healing items. There's our pike balls, auto potions. You can see like key items here. Map. Everything you need, really. And so I guess that's gonna do it. I don't want to go on for too long. This is Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. This is the 3rd game, 2nd on PlayStation platforms, and then Half Genie Hero is going to be the next game. I don't know when that's coming out, but that one, look for that one. I'm pretty excited for that one. It looks good, and especially after playing these two, I'm excited for any Shantae game now. Like I really, again, I like the one last year. You can read and you can check that review out now. That went up then. I'll try to have a review up for this probably in the next week or so. I'm hoping to finish it pretty soon. But I wanted to get this video out really quick. And so this is out this week. It's great. Like I really like it a lot. If you liked last year's game, it's more of the same. There's some new abilities and stuff that you can get. But overall it's a pretty similar, very same in structure game. But it's just a lot of fun. And so that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you next time. If you like this or any of our other YouTube videos, subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to support what we do in general, be sure to hop on over to patreon.com/PSNstores. Your patronage helps keep our podcast 100% ad-free. Thanks for watching.